Hi everybody, welcome to BrickVault. This is Mike and welcome to our another weekly top 10 mocks video. This is where we show our favorite mocks of the passing week, including some of the awesome building ones for this one and also some sci-fi, as I like to choose every week. At the end of the episode, I'm showing your fun LEGO creations that you guys are sending to our BrickVault Fan MOCs email. Always appreciate those mocks. Please follow the rules listed below in the description if you want to send more mocks for next week. And before we get into the list for this week, I just want to mention that we have a new mock in our web store at the www.brickvault.toys. This time around we have a pretty cool collection of 2 speeders from the famous Coruscant chase scene from Star Wars, so check those out. Remember, every single purchase you guys make from our store supports our channel and also the designers that we work with to bring you those awesome mocks. The link to our web store and also all the links for the mocks I mentioned in the video can be found in the description below as well. And let's jump right in with the first one here from Casey McCoy. This is the selection or collection of Stranger Things brickheads. Being one of the most popular sci-fi shows lately on Netflix, this was a super popular theme to make in LEGO, and I've never seen many builds actually. This is the first time I'm seeing any forms of brickheads for all the characters. So from left to right you can see Mike Wheeler, then there is Eleven, there is Maxine Mayfield, Lucas Sinclair, Will Byers, and my favorite, Dustin Henderson. I think Casey has chosen every single trait to diversify those characters between each other. I think I like the use for pieces for Eleven the most. Her outfit is very recognizable from the show, and also her very short haircut that she's wearing throughout the episodes. Also, Dusty's cap, being also quite unique to this character, is recreated pretty well, making his head a bit larger than most of the characters in that brickhead form. And pretty much the leader of the gang somewhat, Mike Wheeler, is also having his pattern for the shirt that he's pretty much wearing in every single episode. I think for me this mock or selection of smaller builds kind of helps me wait for Stranger Things season 3, which can happen soon enough. Moving up the list, we have a build from Simon and H, and I can tell you that this builder I think will be featured more than once in this episode. This is a micro build of his, Maya City, and there's always something I find in the micro builds to be quite appealing. This time around I think the technique he used for making those the Mayan temple slopes, especially the one on the left and the one in the back, is quite astonishing to be specific. I think he used a corner piece, this corner wall piece, a 1x1, in somewhat of a stacked fashion to create this pattern. We can also see some use of the newer pieces, the rounded curves, the 1x1s as well near the river, and I also like the fact that he used this olive green color to break down the colorfulness of the mock into this somewhat of a lush landscape. And probably I should mention that if you haven't seen Simon's builds previously, I really encourage you to check out his Flickr page. Moving forward, this is number 8 and the builder named Patrick Biggs with his Sheriff Takamori. And I'm pretty certain that this build comes from some anime I have no idea about, so I'm gonna just talk about what I like about this build. Most definitely the mask of this somewhat of a demon with a very solid expression, quite intimidating in that matter. And if you look closely, he's using the opposing gears pieces for portraying his teeth, which is a quite brilliant usage. His outfit with somewhat of a cloak along with some sheriff insignia and elements for his maybe even armor underneath all that make up for a very attractive looking fig and quite a good display piece as well. There is also a quite unique build for the pistol in his hand and a nice touch of this new star piece for his sheriff star. Overall, a great display of bionicle techniques and normal ones in a very pleasing build. That is Brother Steven and the build called Ginkgo Lodgings, and as he states in his description, that is part of a bigger build made of 3 creations that was displayed on BrickWorld Chicago this year. Starting off with the base, of course you can see it's a floating somewhat of a treehouse slash hideout slash castle in the clouds, and the base is displaying this lush green garden of the dweller of this household, along with some sort of docks for maybe some airships or balloons to dock with this floating treehouse. And quite quickly we are going into the actual build, showing this somewhat of a fantasy build for the pieces of roof, along with a nice break in color with those yellow leaves and perhaps elements of a medieval building style. The build is finished with a pointy roof and a creature of sorts. I think that might be a small dragon or even a phoenix. Very cool build, and I like the use of background in that type of photography. And moving forward, this is another build from Simon and H in this week's episode. He was really on the roll this week, and I love how every single build is different because I think a lot of guys in the Flickr community were building for an event in different categories this week. This one also stands out. It is a somewhat of a sea serpent, and the title of the mock is "Well, Here I Am, My Little One." And first of all, you have to appreciate the scenery. That is real water he used for this shot. I think the sky is rendered and photoshopped, so that's the only modification to this photo. And the color combination of that dragon slash serpent is pretty amazing. I think he used a dozen at least of colors to recreate this creature, plus the techniques used for his carapace and the bending of his body, as you can see in the back, are pretty impressive. I like the build for the eye and the overall head of the serpent, and even the boat with the traveler has some really unique stuff in it. I think he stole a blue egg of the guy, and that's why the scene happens. I'm very impressed with Simon's builds because every time he comes up with a new one, it's very impressive. Moving forward, we have another type of a micro scale build, and this is Grant Davis and his Mountaintop shrine. If you don't know who Grant Davis is, he is the co-designer along with Jason from JK Brickworks of the Ideas pop-up book that should be a set soon, was accepted into the production stage not that long ago. And this build is his entry to this 2018 Summer Joust contest that many other builders also participated in. And what we have here is not only a lush green part of the jungle, but the beautifully crafted wall for portraying this shrine location. The paved stone path is, I think, using all of the possible parts of round dishes and tiles that you can get in Lego, and this irregular pattern is really catching the eye. In the back we have some amazing details as well, the shrine holding some sort of a golden jewel or crown. The left side has a small flower built into the wall, which is a great technique used, and there is more of this lush green jungle with a bunch of green elements, including even, I think, minifigure hands, plus the tree that has its roots growing into the stone wall. And I love the fact that he used those new petal pieces for creating the crown of the tree. That is one well-crafted, incredible, and very well textured build. And moving towards the top of the list for this week, this is a great sci-fi build we have here that is coming from Rob Damiano, and that is the LL824 Paladin. I am a massive fan of classic space builds and always on the lookout for the best ones. I think this one is very high up in my ranking, and Rob is not the ordinary rookie builder. He has some pretty impressive builds on his Flickr page already. The whole concept and the shape of the ship is actually pretty awesome. Looks somewhat realistic. I mean, something that you would actually see from a space combat engineering maybe sometime in the future. The cockpit is fully built, hosting 2 minifigures, and even such details as the missiles below the wings are included as well. Love the bulky hull in the back, which is actually holding the storage hold. There is even a blaster turret, I guess operated by the second gunner, and the build of course connects to the Nova team, a creation or a series of creations that Rob is working on constantly. If you want to see some real eye candy featuring Lego, I think Rob's Flickr page is the place to go. Plus some storytelling, because he's actually telling stories about the Nova team that I've been following for a while now. If you have no idea what he was doing so far, you are in for a treat. And going back to Earth, to somewhat of a past, let's say that is a build coming from BricksOnWheels, the most impressive car builders around, I think. And the new one from them is the 1930 Bentley blower in 1:8.5 scale. Now, I am no expert on vintage cars at all, but from what I can tell, the build is just astonishingly good. They are using a lot of chrome pieces to make those builds pop, but I don't really mind. I think these add a lot of the value. And just pair this with some custom stickers, for example on the dashboard in this car and on the sides with this British flag, and you have yourself some very high quality model. I would suggest to sift through all those pictures on their Flickr page to see all the amazing details of this car. And if some say that they're not using entirely official Lego bricks, I think I don't really mind, because the outcome just serves the purpose. And I'm always waiting for new builds from them. And moving to the last spot for this list, it can be number 1, it's for you to decide, because I'm not really paying attention to the ranking in this list too much, because these builds are just impressive in their own way in every single spot. This is the comeback of Simon NH again, and also 2 additional builders, Travis Brickle and Ralf Langer. A build called the Wood Tryptichon, made for the contest, the Summer Joust 2018 again. It's also called Bricktychon for short, and the collaboration is impressive in its own way. This 3-picture setup is portraying the process of building something medieval. As you can see on the left, that is a build from Travis Brickle. We can see the forest with some wood chopper, and in this one I do dig the use of lightning with this beautiful rays of sun just poking through the trees. The perspective of trees in the back just make this very thick forest feeling, and overall the scene and the composition of it is just perfect. A quick disclaimer, none of these shops is photoshopped in terms of lighting, maybe just cuts of the background here and there, but everything is real Lego and real used light. The middle shop shot is from Simon NH. You can see the old-fashioned carpenter working on that piece of wood for the build of a medieval house later on. All the details like his workbench to the left with the beautiful lighting poking through those wooden planks. Even the top has some opening to it. I mean, the attention of details is just insane in this build, absolutely insane. Even the minifigure hands portraying the pieces of wood falling from the saw, and the way he used a minifigure hand on the side of the saw to portray how he's moving his hands to cut the wood. That is a Lego portrait building at its finest, and we're coming to the final result of the collaboration. That is the building in progress on the right by Ralf Langer, and I think this is the most complex build of them all. Even not the building in the middle is the most impressive. The left ones with the all crazy wall techniques are just astonishingly good. I like the landscaping at the bottom, showing just irregularities in the surface of the ground. Even that tree in the back that's just like seen through between the buildings is just amazing. And the whole building in the front shot is having techniques like rubber bands to hold stuff, or the brick pattern on the walls, plus the unfinished part of the structure at the top, all make for some very advanced, I would say expert level techniques. I highly recommend checking out all Flickr pages of these three builders. I have linked them below, and I'm looking forward to seeing more collaborations of this sort in the future. That is just one of the best things I've seen this year. And that's gonna be it for this week's top 10 mocks video. I hope you guys enjoyed this selection. Remember, all the links are below, so make sure to check them out and give those builders a solid follow. And also now is the time to show off your fan creations that you guys are sending to our email. The email is right now visible on the screen if you wanna send more for next week. Also remember to follow the rules that are listed below. It just makes it easier for us to make those videos for you. And that is it. Leave a like and subscribe, guys, if you enjoy our content. Also, you can click that bell button to be notified whenever we make a new video. And thanks so much for watching again. It was Mike, and I'll see you next time on BrickVault.